revolution starting inside. An instrumental part of Agora worldwide. Agora worldwide. Agora worldwide. Counter economics. Agorist strip. Black market click. Move a quick flip. Can't regulate this. Agorist strip. Black market click. Move a quick flip. Can't regulate this. Agorist.
Agorist.
Agorist. Nexus. Agorist.
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 This is Brandon with the Agorist Acres podcast. I've got my great co-host Dag. How you doing, Dag?
What's up, man? Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Sipping on some bourbon. You know, I heard it fights off the COVID, so apologize in advance. My voice is funny today. But that's okay. We're going to get through this together.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a cough myself, but yeah.
Yeah, if I knew we should have not been recording while I was sick, I wouldn't got you sick through the internet.
Yeah. You're contagious.
Allegedly.
We've got-
maybe weeks ago, but you know, whatever.
This episode should be pretty sweet. We've got a superhero episode for you guys. But before we get into it, shout out to our sponsors, Presearch, Decentralized search engine, earn crypto as a search, keyword stake to advertise, you know, just all the bells and whistles. So yeah, definitely check out Presearch. Use our affiliate link to tell them that we're sponsoring. So with that said, yeah, let's get into it. So we've got this whole episode is going to be about Phoenix Jones, the superhero. And before you guys think that this is not going to be an interesting episode, yeah, this episode is going to be super interesting. There's like over 10 years of history here with the superheroes in Seattle, and there's multiple like real life superheroes. And he did get busted. Like he was selling drugs, and he had got busted by an undercover cop for selling drugs. But we'll get into, you know, how this guy became a superhero and all that. And I think it's interesting to start out with his childhood because he's definitely and you know, this doesn't say it on Wikipedia or anything, but I was watching a MMA fight that he did with his foster brother. So it's like, you know, this guy was in foster care at a young age. So I don't know if he was like orphaned or anything, but I mean that right there is like, you know, superhero beginning, right? So
Yeah, that's rough.
So I think you know, it's definitely got some superhero feel to it, like just this whole story. So and it's real life. So that's another crazy thing is that this is all real life stuff. So yeah, with that said, you know, he's in foster care. He's like a MMA fighter. He's got a decent win-loss record. I was watching a couple of fights.
Decent,
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I really don't know much about, you know, like MMA or like what's considered good, but yeah, it's like he's got 7 wins and 3 losses in his professional record. And then amateur career, what was it? 15 wins and 2 losses. So I mean, that's more wins than losses. I assume that's how you rate if someone's good or not, right? If you got a 49 to 51% ratio in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I consider good myself. Like if you're able to win in the pros, then I mean, I think you're pretty good, regardless of you know what other people's feelings are about it. I think if you can win the pros, you're good because it's such a tough sport, and you don't really know what everybody's going to throw at you sometimes. I mean, they know a lot of these guys know multiple, you know, separate, you know, martial arts.
It's like it's
different martial arts schools and stuff. So. Yeah, it's mixed martial arts. Yeah,
I was going to say, even anybody who like has like a single win and like an amateur one could definitely beat my ass. So, you know, I can't talk to them. They suck. They only have 2 wins. You know, it's like, yeah, they kick your ass. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, you know, what's the saying? Armchair quarterbacking. You know what I mean? Where you just kind of have to feel like a dick, like talking shit about professional athletes and how they play. You know,
yeah.
It's like, dude, that guy can kick your ass any day of the fucking week. But you know, objectively, yeah, he seems like a good a good MMA dude. I never really got that into MMA. Like, I don't dislike it or anything. I don't know. I don't mind watching a fight. I just don't know all the lingo and moves and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really too much into MMA. Occasionally, I'll turn it on if there's like a big fight or something. I was taking like Krav Maga for a little bit, and then one of my friends was trying to get me into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but another one of my regrets, I didn't get into that. I probably should have.
Yeah,
But,
man. I mean, it takes a lot of time and discipline. I had a buddy who was an instructor for Gracie, and he was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely a good skill to have. And I think if you're going to try and be some sort of superhero / vigilante, I know that's not what he likes to call himself, but having being able to defend yourself with your body is probably a very good thing. Definitely you'll definitely live longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to claim that you're if you're trying to come out like Batman, you better be able to fight like Batman. But
yeah.
So anyways, how did this guy become a superhero, Dag? Let's go over that first. What do you got?
Oh, what do I got? Shoot.
Yeah, what do you got?
Okay, so there was basically a couple incidences. If that's where we want to go start with this. There was one where he was, I guess, out with a friend of his, and his friend got assaulted in public, and there were a lot of people around, a lot of bystanders. Nobody did anything, nobody called the cops or whatever. And so he was really upset with that and claims to have lost some faith in humanity. And then I guess shortly after that, there was an incident where somebody broke into his car. And when he went to investigate, he was with his son, and his son slipped in the broken glass and cut his knee. And there was a lot of blood. And, that was pretty traumatic for both of them. And I guess in that instance, he told bystanders, somebody call 911 or something, and nobody did. So again, he was upset by that and said, gosh darn it, if the police aren't going to clean up the city and nobody cares, I'm just going to take matters in my own hands. So I guess that's what he started doing. And this was like 2011 ish, maybe 2010. He started doing this. Do I have that correct? It looks like his first thing in the press was January 2nd, 2011.
Yeah, that's the first one that I see for sure. But and that one, it was like, let's see what his first one was. Phoenix Jones stopped and chased away a car thief as the car owner, who asked to be identified only as Dan, stood by in shock as Jones ran into action. He's like, this superhero is trying to stop this guy from stealing my car, and he's just like all shocked and shit.
He's like, dude, I'm upside down on it. Let him steal it. I got gap coverage. Come on, he's doing me a favor.
He's like, man, I probably shouldn't have hired that car thief.
Then, right. It's his buddy's getting his ass kicked. Oh man.
Yeah.
We figured it'd be a great city to do it in. The cops don't give a shit. So,
right.
Yeah, and I guess I'm sorry. This is Seattle, so all that area up there. I mean, at least from what I hear on the news and whatnot, is pretty crime ridden. I don't know many people live out that way who have told me that it's true or not. But yeah, what is it like? Portland gets a lot of bad press about that, and I guess Seattle and everything. Really, a lot of the West Coast. Like I actually have friends who spent a lot of time in San Francisco, and they said it's just disgusting. Just really awful. So man, I mean,
I know San Francisco's disgusting just from my own personal sources, and then I used to live in California, but yeah, I guess Seattle's again very liberal city, so I mean those cities are definitely breed crime. Again, I mean I don't really care. To me, it doesn't really matter who's in power. It's just like the more it's all communism, right? I just think that there's different degrees of communism. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're just less communist as a Republican, but it doesn't mean you're not a communist, in my opinion. But yeah, so we've got that incident.
And he started I guess he got a costume together, and his first one was really crude, made out of like socks and long johns and stuff, and eventually started making a nicer
like
costume.
a ski mask.
Yeah, exactly, with actually some sort of alleged protection in it. I guess he wears body armor and like stab resistant body armor and mask and helmet, which honestly, man, his mask, I don't know how he sees out of it. Like, I mean, there's eye holes and stuff, but it just seems like, okay, wearing like a COVID mask, like a surgical mask, like restricts my vision, and it's just a little bit down to the bottom, so I don't know. It just seems like it must be tough to fight wearing a mask, but whatever, he does. And it's gold and it's black and gold, so that's pretty cool. I don't, he's obviously not an ANCAP, but they're good colors. But yeah, so we started getting that together and started kind of patrolling. It seems like a lot of what he was having involvement with was things like fights, breaking up fights and whatnot. Pepper sprayed a few people, but yeah, breaking up fights and stopping obvious crimes, for the most part, seeming to be aggressive acts that he's stopping. Obviously, when people talk about crime fighting, there's real life crime, as far as what the government considers crime. A lot of it isn't really crime. So if he's going around beating up people who are smoking a joint, that's obviously not cool. But it seems like for most of the stuff that he's gotten press coverage for has been for actually like theft, violence, things like that. There's an incident where
stuff that we can get behind. In terms
exactly.
of like the non-aggression principle, and if you look, like, of course, this guy really knows how to fight too, and so if you look at what's the one he got arrested for? Let me see. It was October 9th, Sunday, October 9th, 2011. And if you look at the video for this one, and we'll have all the links down in the description and stuff, but if you look at the video for this one, it's like this guy is like trying his best, like not to hurt anybody, like not to fight anybody. He's using his pepper spray as like a last resort. And I think the thing about this one, the October 9th one, 2011, is that basically there was like an altercation, and so he runs up there, and there's actually a video, and it's crazy because this guy's got like his own videographer, kind of like I'm the guy who videos Phoenix Jones and stuff, like Spider-Man's got his own photographer and stuff, anyways, so in this video you'll see him, and it really looks like these people are like fighting and stuff, and he runs over there like trying to break it up, and then of course everybody sees the superhero suit, and everybody turns on him and stuff. So I think that's kind of what it looks like to me that happened. And then of course it looks like he doesn't want, he's not trying to use violence or anything. He's like using his pepper spray as last resort. And so he gets arrested for this incident, and then they charged him with assault for using pepper spray. So, and the next day, I think it's the next day in court, he goes over there and he's like, he does like an Iron Man reveal, like after court. He goes up to the media and he takes off his gear, and he's like, I'm Ben Fodder, and he's even got like his own Iron Man type, identity reveal right after that. And it was actually kind of a cool video because he's like, I'm just a normal guy who's trying to make a difference and stuff. And he really seems like likable, and it really seems like he wants to do the right thing. So, but I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. So my thoughts on the incident, and this is where doing things like this can get to be a little bit tricky, because, okay, so this is like what I envision happened here. What was going on with these people? So there's obviously a lot of serious events where there are fights that people don't want to be involved in. It's assault, blah, blah, blah. a lot of times there's fights where the people are perfectly willing, whatever. As we'll get into a little bit later, some actual incidents with Phoenix here, but okay, so let's say you and a bunch of your friends, you're out drinking, and everyone's all shitty and drunk. It's like 3 a.m. and a couple of your friends or whatever, they get in a little argument, but it's not anything serious. Maybe they're even throwing hands, but whatever, it's your friends and they do that and blah blah blah, and you're trying to solve it, and some dude in a costume with pepper spray comes barging in trying to like stick his nose in and solve it. You know what I mean? Like I could I could totally see being like, dude, get the fuck out of here. We got this. You know what I mean? These are our boys. These are our friends. Get the fuck out of here. We got this. And getting a little involved and people getting upset. Because in the video, these people are obviously like, this girl's like hitting them with her shoe. She's like, get the fuck out of here. But that's something that can happen. So it's tough. And I don't really know where the skill is involved at making sure that it's something you should be, getting into and inserting yourself in the situation. And something that you shouldn't. And I mean, I don't know if there's a great answer for that. Obviously nobody got seriously hurt or anything in this either way. So it's a lot of times when the cops insert themselves in a situation they shouldn't be in, someone gets shot and dies. And that didn't happen here. So obviously I think that this is a better scenario in a lot of times than when, the police get involved. But it's tough. I've heard stories of, friends telling me or, assuming they were telling me the truth, but I've heard stories otherwise of, like there's a man and a woman fighting. So you come over, oh man, I'm not going to let this man hit this woman. And you come over and try and stop it. And the woman she's like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? This is none of your goddamn business. Like that shit happens all the time. If you're a legal concealed carry person and you see a man and woman fighting and a dude hitting his girl and you go up and like shoot him or something, like you're probably gonna like, you don't want to do that. That's not something you want to do. You will probably end up getting, arrested or something. I mean, but then again, if it's bad enough and he's beating the shit out of her, she's bleeding out of the face, maybe it's a different story. I don't know, man. It's just one of those are the kind of situations that can go any number of ways, once it goes to court or depending on what the local government is like, or if you have a prosecutor that really wants to put you away. So not to get too off topic, but it's just, doing this kind of thing, like what he's doing here, you really do have to, you're taking some responsibility, in your own hands for sure. Because if you get into something with somebody and somebody ends up dying, you know what I mean? There could be liability, and maybe rightfully so. It's just one of those things that anytime you insert yourself in a situation, you put yourself at risk for that kind of thing. Even just defending yourself, even in like a legal situation, if you're defending yourself against an aggressor and, there's a chance you could go to court for it. You could have to, prove or not be proven of that you did something wrong. You know what I mean? Burden of proofs in the hands of the state. But if it's like self-defense, you do actually have to testify. So it's not the kind of thing like if you're like charged with murder, you don't have to testify. If you're trying to use self-defense, like you as a defense, you have to testify. So it's just a lot of risk. So, it seems like he did pretty good with it. There were no actual charges filed, I think, when his whole incident here with the police was over. So that's good. From some of the articles that we were reading and stuff, it seemed like maybe there were a few police officers who really didn't care for him, and a lot of them who didn't mind him, and a lot of them who liked him. But definitely it seems like the ones here were just like, oh, this guy's always sticking his nose into other people's business, so they wanted to arrest him, etc. That's just the gist I'm getting from reading interviews of people talking about the subject here. But
yeah, another thing I want to mention too is that duels in Seattle can be consensual. That they do have like they do have mutual, what do they call them, like mutual combat,
mutual
combat laws or something. To where you can't duke it out. So I mean, again, I don't care if something's legal or not. I really just care if the non-aggression principle is being violated. But if people want to mutually duel, whether that's legal or not, I mean, who am I to go in there and butt in? Now I don't know if that was the case here,
right,
or not. But it really seemed like he just wanted to help, and then he was like trying to like avoid getting hit by a couple of the girls. And like if you take a look at the whole video, it's kind of like, I think they kind of went harder on him. Like if they tried to explain it to him, I think like, hey, we're just messing around, or like
You've
something else.
You've been drunk at 3 a.m. before though, right? With a bunch of people. Like it's just
like
I'm not saying you're
I try
wrong.
Not to put my
right. Well,
yeah.
Like
I try not to put
right.
myself into those situations.
Like you're totally right, but
I get
the reality of the situation is, a bunch of people come out of a club at 3 a.m. all piss ass drunk, and half of them didn't get laid and wanted to, and the other, you know what I mean. It's just people are in shitty moods or whatever, so it's just it's just a tough situation all around. He didn't really get hurt, so I guess it's just something he has to live with that happening. But your point is of course very valid though, that he didn't, he wasn't so overzealous that other people really got hurt or anything. So yeah, shit like that's probably going to happen when you're running around doing this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, and I mean, people want to fight just because they've been drinking,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So then you've got some guy in a costume coming up like, hey, like, we don't need to do this, and then they're like, fuck you, and so yeah, I mean, it can obviously get out of hand quick, but I mean, if they were like, nah, man, like we're consensually dueling or some shit, or whatever, then I'm sure I
hope so.
It could have been de-escalated, and
well here's the thing too.
It's not against the law, so he's
right, and he's done it. He's invoked mutual combat before, so obviously he can't have an issue with it.
I don't know about beef. I don't think. I don't think before this.
Yeah, I don't know
on the timeline.
I
think it's on the timeline. I think it's after, but
okay. But still,
we'll go into that.
If he's going to be consistent. But what's funny here is like, okay, so like if he wasn't wearing a costume, he could just sort of like walk up on the situation and be like, yo, what's going on? And get like a feel for it before deciding what to do. But like in a costume, you can't really just do that. Like you can't just be this like superhero costume and walk up and be like, yo, so what's going on here? Huh? Like what's up? These guys fighting or what? Like you're pretty noticeable. It's kind of hard to be low key.
Yo, it's Jeremiah Harding, and I got some questions for you. Do you need to relax, network, vibe, and become better informed about how to survive the coming disastrous economic collapse? Anarchapulco is your must-go destination in 2022. This could be your last chance to go, since the powers that shouldn't be want to lock down the entire planet with another COVID variant, and coming soon an environmental lockdown. So if you want to spend February 14th to 18th, 2022 in the sunny climes of Acapulco, Mexico, relaxing, partying, and eating great food with fellow freedom enthusiasts, feel free to head over to agoristnexus.com/ACA to sign up for your tickets today and use code NEXUS to get 10% off your entire purchase. That helps us bring you the content you deserve, and it helps you get the getaway you deserve in 2022. Now let's get back to that content.
But yeah, so I get like, other people would be like, oh, this dude's like a dweeb, But when I look at this dude, I'm like, okay, this dude's like big, and he looks strong, and if he's willing to wear a costume, you kind of have to wonder, like, okay, like, I'm sure other people have wanted to fight this dude before, so like, well, as long as you don't violate the non-aggression principle, I could really care less. Myself, but yeah, let's get into the group of superheroes. They're called. He even created a group of superheroes called the Rain City superheroes. Rain City being, rainy Seattle. You want to take us into that article, Dag?
Yeah, I think you can do that. Let's see. Okay, so there's this article here that I like. It's from isn't my volume thing going away? Sorry, technical issues. Okay, there it goes. This article's from Daily Beast, and it's actually pretty decent. This dude, the author Winston Ross, went on, I guess you call it a ride along, with Phoenix and the Rain City superheroes. Yeah, it's funny because when you're just talking about like, we're talking about being a dweeb. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying that he's not a total badass, but reading this article, Sorry, man, he's kind of a dweeb. That's fine. um, but yeah, he goes on a ride along with them, and it's like a dirty white Hyundai is like their car they're rolling around in. One of the superheroes gets like ridiculously fucked up on like NyQuil, and they have to like call in like a backup, which is kind of funny. But they were going to go do some like crack house thing and didn't because they were short a guy. So they went and like patrolled like this and this is just in the article. They went out, I guess they had rotating shifts, so they go out a couple times a week and patrol. But on this particular night, they went out and patrolled like a college area and like had some interactions with people, but they were like friendly. They take pictures and hang out. A lot of people are familiar with them. But I don't know, man. There were several of them. I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I'm not sure what actually happened, what the drama is that caused them to sort of break up in like 2014. I haven't really been able to find anything on that, but it has something to do with the dudes, the other guys other than Phoenix. Like he disbanded these guys in 2014. for whatever reason, but basically they patrol and find shit to get into. Apparently one of the things it mentions in here is like they're patrolling and listening to music, and they're listening to like a Justin Bieber song on their they get a Justin Bieber CD or something, so that's why I said they're kind of dweeby. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what to say about them. Let me see if I can find some names. I unfortunately couldn't find out much information about any of the particular ones. But here's some names. So there's Thorn. There's Buster Doe, which I guess he was Buster, but the cops had to write him down as Buster Doe when he refused to give them his real name. There's the Green Reaper.
Green Reaper, yeah.
The Mantis, Prodigy, Gemini, No Name. Ooh, I like that one. Catastrophe, Thunder 88. Oh, I like that one too. Penelope, and then of course Phoenix Jones. Oh, other members included the Red Dragon, Midnight Jack, Karma, Skyman, and El Caballero. Does that mean goat?
No, that's like the gentleman.
Oh, okay.
In Spanish. Yeah.
Goat's not far off though, right? I'm not crazy, right?
That'd be like Chiva, I think, but testing my Spanish skills here. Oh, and then Purple Rain. I think Purple Rain is his girlfriend, I believe.
Yeah. Who says that she likes him doing the superhero thing because it, quote, keeps him out of trouble. So, I mean, I can see it getting you into trouble too.
Even though he's had multiple run-ins with the police because of it. But
Jones,
but yeah.
So he points out his failed attempts at converting mopeds into a hero mobile. So anyhow, so yeah, this is a decent article here. It's pretty funny. But they I don't know. You want me to keep on with this? Where they get into the drug thing, or we want to talk about that later?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. So the group stopped 4 people pretending to be law enforcement from robbing a blind man whose pockets they purported to be lawfully searching.
What a hustle!
Red Dragon notes that the group has also stopped carjackings, helped stranded vehicles on the highway, stopped people from driving drunk, chased down and aided in the apprehension of a sex offender, and even escorted people to their cars late at night. They have dealt with a man making threatening statements while swinging a golf club. On May Day 2012, El Caballero, Midnight Jack, and Phoenix Jones confronted vandals damaging an old federal courthouse. Man, they should have let that one go. But
yeah, right.
fuck government buildings. But
I really like the escorting people to their cars thing. I think that's probably one of the easiest and like safest things you could do from like a vigilante kind of thing. Is just Like, because if you're in a group of, people are gonna be less likely to be fucked with. So I think escorting people to their cars late at night, people have to work late or ladies or whatnot. I like that. It's probably one of the easiest things to find people to do too, I mean, basically like bouncers at strip clubs, it's like half their job.
Yeah, I thought so Phoenix Jones has a yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I thought this was kind of cool too. Or it's a funny story anyways. September 24th, 2011, in Belltown neighborhood of Seattle, Phoenix Jones doused a man with pepper spray after he attempted to steal a bus. The driver of the bus had been handing out flyers when another individual attempted to steal it. Jones was reported to have intervened, and the hijacker escaped with skin dyed orange due to the pepper spray. Jones says he didn't receive any help from Seattle police, who took hours to respond to the incident. No shit. I know that's why you need private police and private groups anyways, because police don't care and they don't do their jobs.
Not even about their own damn bus.
Right.
There was a story. Was it in Tampa? I don't know. Why do I want to say that? Anyhow, this kid, like a 15-year-old kid, stole a bus and was doing the regular bus route, and like made several stops before someone called the cops, realizing he was way too young. And he's like, yeah, I wanted some money, so I took the bus and started doing the route. That's fucking awesome, man. Like, I love that kid. And I'm not like stealing buses is okay or anything, but like, I don't know. There's just something about that initiative.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's public bus, so I mean, technically.
Yeah. Well, he was doing the route. Like, he wasn't doing like his own route. He's like, nah, I'm just being the bus driver today. Fucking pay me.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. He's trying to make his money, man.
He's trying to work. I mean, fuck, dude. What are you gonna do?
It's public, so I mean,
but I appreciate the gumption. Even if it being a private thing, I'd say that bus company should hire that motherfucker instead of prosecuting him. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, he had the balls enough to, let's get the nat enough to actually.
Yeah, let's get this kid in training. This gonna be the best damn bus driver we've ever had.
Exactly. I did want to get into this guy's nemesis. Yes, he is a nemesis, guys. And so he's got like a super villain going against Phoenix Jones, which is just crazy. His name's Rex Velvet, and we'll have a video of Rex Velvet down below. But yes, he is a super villain. The dude looks like kind of like Riddler, kind of, with like a hat and shit like that, and then he's got like a scar running down his face. So yeah, and then like the super villain will like post some pretty funny stuff on Twitter, like that was my dastardly plan, and I've got something in the works. Some of the stuff seems like kind of like QAnon-ish, like things are happening behind the scenes and like trust the plan, but yeah, it's a lot of the stuff's pretty funny. So definitely look him up on Twitter if you guys want a good laugh. But
yeah, the video that you showed me was pretty good. And so forgive me, like if I'm like ruining the whimsy or anything by asking these questions. I'm just I'm not like a big like superhero person. So like if I'm being too like serious about this, forgive me. But like he's like the super villain just in like fantasy, like like online in this. Like this guy's not actually out there committing, doing super villain crimes, right? It's just kind of like for fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, who knows, right? Like it's Seattle, so you don't really know. There's no like record of him doing anything.
He looks a little soft. That's all I'm saying.
There's no record of him doing. Yeah, it is a cool persona. Yeah, it could all be an act, but I mean, there's no, and it probably is, but there's no record of him. He's got like no record of doing illegal things. I think the main reason why he created him was because he's like against like vigilantism and snitches. So I think that's like his main thing. But but yeah, he says he's like in the video. He said he works on like supervillain type stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got on him. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that that Phoenix Jones even has a like his own Riddler or Joker or something. So
So
um
he actually does have a lot, like he says, like he gets like so okay, so this really is like these dudes, it really is like a big like I don't know what I'm trying to say, like social media kind of thing. It's like a big like it's not, I mean, obviously there's a lot of documented cases of these guys doing, you know, cool stuff and good stuff, but there is like a big like what am I trying to say, like local celebrity kind of aspect to these guys. And he had like a blog and stuff going for a long time, where they talked about a lot of the you know, the doings that they'd have. But they actually claimed that a lot of like their hate mail and stuff isn't necessarily from even like their like this nemesis or whatever that might be in fun, but there are actually people who hate them, not just because they've gotten them busted for things, but there's this whole other like element of like real quote unquote superheroes who like put on costumes and do superhero things. But the things that they do are things like handing out sandwiches and stuff to homeless people. And they actually are like against vigilantism. So they're against putting on a superhero costume and going and stopping crimes from happening, you know, people being aggressed against or whatever. Because that's the cop's job. You know what I mean? You're supposed to put on a superhero costume and go hand out sandwiches. So there's a network of, I guess, like hundreds or maybe even thousands of them all over the world. And a lot of them actually don't care for Phoenix Jones and his group. And I think they're just jealous because Phoenix Jones and stuff does it better. But they're like, yeah, he's just like you know, he just wants media attention. And, you know, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're against vigilantism. You know, again, I think they're just people who really love the state and just don't like people other than the state taking things like that into their own hands. But it's so funny to me that there's this other group of people who dress up as superheroes who like are mad at him about it because he's not doing it right. So that's pretty funny. And it's like, yeah, obviously he wants media attention. You know, like you said, he has his own film crew or whatever, a filmographer. So, you know, and they,
I don't know if he still does, but
you know,
I don't know.
But so what?
I don't know if he. I don't know if he still does. I don't know if he still does, but that guy.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't still, because I mean, all this, like, we got to remember, all this stuff we're talking about is like the early 2010s. You know, this is 2011. I know it doesn't feel like it to us oldies, but that's a long time ago, dude. That's a fucking over a decade ago.
Like a decade.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff is, you know, I mean, they disbanded this group in 2014. It looks like that's maybe we'll get into this a little bit later, but it looks like that's kind of why a lot of this stopped, and why the reason a lot of this stopped, the reason he stopped doing a lot of this was because his MMA thing picked up. So he was doing MMA, you know, more professionally after this.
Yeah, he had a bunch of fights in like 2015 and 2016 and stuff, which was actually cool. But yeah,
it looks like come like 2015 and stuff, some of his events were starting to peter out a little bit. It was like speaking. Okay, so 2012 was the Mutual Combat event. Did we talk about that yet? Or did I have that on my list somewhere else?
Let's do the Mutual Combat event. It's cool because even Joe Rogan, I like Joe Rogan's video on Phoenix Jones's like Mutual Combat. I think he did a pretty good job narrating. I mean, he has like a commentator for MMA. So, I mean, if anybody narrates,
he's a fighter and all that,
yeah, he's a fighter. Yeah, so I mean, if anybody's gonna narrate or commentate on like
break it down for us,
street fight, yeah, Joe Rogan will. But yeah, definitely take a look at that video. I think it's funny because the dude's like, this dude in a costume like comes up and this dude's just like, you're a fucking pussy, and he's like if you look at the whole video, not just Joe Rogan's, but if you look at the whole video, it's like Phoenix Jones doesn't want to fight this guy. He's like, no, like, I don't want to fight you, that's not why I'm here, and like, you know, all this shit. And he like tries to de-escalate it, and this dude's like, you're a pussy, I'll beat your ass and shit. And so eventually he's just like, all right, if you really want to get your ass beat, fine. And you know, couple leg kicks later, and Phoenix Jones just completely knocks this guy on his ass. So
yeah, it's like Joe Rogan points out, or maybe whoever else is on Joe Rogan show is like, at this moment when he throws the first leg kick, the other guy's like, oh fuck, because it's like, like when you go to fight somebody, in that moment that you realize like, oh, they actually know how to fight. It's like, oh shit, I'm in way over my head here.
Yeah,
priceless.
But it's like your fault, dude. Like you don't, I'll never call somebody out and be like, oh, you're a pussy, I can beat your ass, because you don't really know. I mean,
I don't, especially strangers. Like I'll just laugh and exit the situation, dude. Like I'm not a saving face kind of dude. I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna risk it in a fight.
Even the people,
yeah,
exactly, yeah. But even the people who can fight, even the people who are like really good fighters, they're usually not about being aggressive and stuff. They're like, no, dude. Like,
they know better than anyone.
I don't want to fight.
Yeah, exactly. That A, they can really hurt somebody, and B, because they know how to fight, they know how much they suck at fighting compared to people who can fight better than them. So they're more apt to not go talking shit to get in a fight, because people who know how to fight a lot of times are more afraid of getting their ass beat than people who don't know how to fight, because they know how much they don't know. If that makes any sense, when you don't know how to fight, you might think, oh, blah, 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 and I can just go whoop some ass, but when you know how to fight, you know that like how much actually goes into it. So I think there is a big difference with that too. I think like you pointed out, people who know how to fight a lot of times are a lot less apt to get in a fight. But there's responsibility that comes with learning martial arts. Not to get so Karate Kid on it, but I mean it's it's true. I mean, there's responsibility that comes with carrying a gun, that you really need to be considerate of. And put a lot of thought into before you go carrying a gun. Like, what would I do in this situation? And for any reason from when people say, oh, there's a mass shooting, I'd go in and stop it. It's like, not me. I'm getting my family the fuck out of there. And unless the mass shooter comes between me, my family, and the exit, I have no intention on using my gun. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, if somebody else wants to go be a hero, fucking go for it. That's not my fucking MO, dude. It's get me and my family the fuck out of there, and that's it. But that's the kind of stuff you need to, I mean, there's moral questions, there's legal questions, whatever, philosophical questions on, how you would handle situations like that. And that comes up with a lot of everything we've been talking about on this episode today too. It's, you're putting yourself in situations for better or for worse, and you need to think about it, or you need to,
with great power comes great responsibilities.
Yeah, man.
Not trying to get Spider-Man over here, but
I don't know any of the Superman references, dude. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, that was Spider-Man. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I want to go over his drug bust, and so
this was relatively
recent.
Is
interesting, now. and there's this happened in 2020 or January, February. I think it's January of 2020 is when the drug bust was. And I think it's interesting because somebody on social media mentioned, oh, he's now, again, we don't know like all the aspects of this. So we don't know if it's true or not. We're just saying that somebody mentioned this on Twitter, that he was pretty much just trying to take out his competition. He was using the superhero thing to take out his competition so he could sell drugs. Now, I'm sure that wasn't what because there's no like him getting arrested for selling drugs for like multiple years, right? So and so I'm pretty sure that that's not like what he was doing initially. Now, again, like at Agorist Nexus, we don't really care if you sell drugs or not. Like, we actually don't think it's a bad thing because we don't believe that that I don't believe that I can tell somebody what they can and cannot put into their own body, or even what they can and cannot buy with their own hard-earned money. So we really don't even have a problem with that. Now, I would have a problem if you were like trying to take out the competition. Now, again, that's just a rumor.
It was just something, and it could have, for all I know, it could have just been a joke too that somebody posted. But that was the first I'd ever even heard of this dude. It was the same day you'd hit me up about him too. But that's the first I ever heard of this dude. Was I saw that I saw that tweet about that. And again, it could have been a joke. It could have been sarcastic. I don't know. So if whoever posted that is listening and is mad that we're mischaracterizing your post, I'm sorry. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick second to shout out Agorist Acres Seeds. AgoristAcres.com stocks a variety of seeds for your garden or homestead. They also have really cool packaging instead of those silly paper envelopes.
Buy seeds with crypto, support the counter economy, and become self-sustaining today. Agorist Acres offers fast shipping so you can get started right away.
Make sure you use code Nexus10 at the checkout for 10% off of your orders. Also, they will donate a portion of the sale to Agorist Nexus, helping to bring you all the great content you expect. And all right, let's get on with it.
But anyways, with the drug bust, I think an undercover cop busted him for trying to sell MDMA, which is like pretty much ecstasy, right? And and then they also had some cocaine on them, and I think he was even dressed up as Phoenix Jones at the time, if I'm correct. Let's verify that. But
no,
what else do you got on?
So.
He wasn't dressed up as.
I don't think so. So again, so this was way later. You know, he hadn't really been doing the Phoenix Jones thing. So here's the thing, and I think I was sort of getting to this earlier. In like 2015 was like the last one where it was like, okay, it was like him like stopping like a crime or something, right? A violent incident. In 2016, there was a thing where Jones attempted to assist authorities in taking the quote man in tree down from the 80-foot sequoia he had climbed, but police rejected the offer. So he didn't really do anything. It's like kind of been off for a while, and he's like, oh, that's kind of publicity-ish, you know. They didn't accept this thing. And then in 2020 is the next media thing that I'm finding here. And that says Jones was seen patrolling the Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, in 2020. I'm sure we all remember that, whatever that was. So, that's again him just sort of hanging out in costume, but not much going on. So it sort of seems like his superhero thing might have like fizzled out. So I don't know. I don't think he was in costume. So what I had read about the arrest was he had sold a little bit of MDMA to an undercover person. I actually have an article on it. Let me see if I can pull it up here, be a little more accurate.
Yeah,
but he sold MDMA to an undercover person, and then they arranged later another drug deal, and that was the one they arrested him on. So they did the first one,
the first one was like at a Starbucks, I think.
Yeah, and then the second one
999 Third Avenue.
Yeah, it was like at a party, and that was where he had the cocaine, or the person he was with or whatever had the cocaine. And
there's like all kinds of jokes about this, like superhero turned to life of crime, and like,
well, hey man, the superhero thing, he hadn't been doing it for a while, wasn't paying it out. I mean, you gotta
make that money, bro.
Now, yeah, hey man, you gotta hustle. Now, so there's this article here, and again, of course, we'll post it. But they're sort of characterizing it as it was something he'd been doing for a while. A witness told detectives they could not believe Fodor had not been caught yet by authorities, paving the way for an undercover drug sting operation designed to catch a superhero that turned to a life of crime. So, of course, it's a hokey article, but they do kind of paint it as people have been claiming that they've been doing this for. Now, does that mean a year? Does that mean 6 months? Does that mean 10 years? Who knows? It doesn't say anything like that. But
they don't really have evidence because this is the first time he's been arrested for this. So I mean, just like
right. So
probably spouting out of their asses here. But
yeah, and I mean, again, maybe he has been selling dope. Who knows? This is the first time he's been caught. But yeah, we just don't know. I'd like to know the truth. Not that it matters, but just curious. But yeah, so they sold him like
my superheroes.
Yeah, looks like they sold him
superheroes would sell me fucking dope. All right, they would sell me whatever the fuck I wanted. Right? I mean, if I was like, I need help, Mr. Leaf. Mr. Leaf comes up with a bag of fucking marijuana and like, whatever else I wanted. That would be a great superhero. I mean, that would be like my kind of superhero.
Shroom man.
Shroom man.
Fun guy.
But, again, we're all about like consensual agreements here, and that cop was definitely in the wrong here. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, he hit him up again for some consensual exchange about a week later, and it took him a month to hook up before he before they got him at a hotel, it looks like, for an unknown white powder substance weighing approximately 31.7 grams. That means it probably wasn't anything legit, or they would have said what it was. But I don't know. But yeah, so that was the deal. Do we know what happened to him? Looks like he's been arrested a few times for 6 charges of driving with a suspended license. I've done that once or twice. Let's see. Oh, arraignment
yeah,
February. That was
I don't
last
have any
year,
issues
though.
with that.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with driving with no license and stuff. I don't have any issues with that. So I only have issues with non-aggression principle violations. But yeah, let's get into that's really all we got in the drug bust, right?
Yeah, I don't know whatever became of it.
Was the quote unquote accomplice, was that one of his superhero buddies too, or
I don't know. I think
what?
I thought it said it was a woman. Let's see. And his unknown girlfriend. Yeah, so I guess him and a lady. They haven't mentioned her. Oh yeah, they do. Andrea Irene Brenson. So yeah. But yeah, I don't know what ended up happening, if they, sentencing or anything. Yeah, maybe there's another article somewhere, maybe not. Maybe he's maybe he just gets off because he's some sort of like informant. I mean, I guess technically that was kind of his like job there for a long time, was observing and reporting. It claims, let's see, in this Daily Beast article, I believe it was, that that was a lot of what they that they would or could do is, be like a witness, or like is professional witness a word? Was that what they were calling it in Stranger in a Strange Land? Anyhow, yeah, like, you'd be like a professional witness, and I mean, I had an incident, I don't know if I talked about it on the show or not, here in my neighborhood a few weeks ago, where the police showed up at my neighbor's house, and there's not much I can do about that. But one thing I did was I went over there and I watched, and they knew I was watching, and hopefully that would help keep them from doing anything stupid. And if anything got crazy, I could be a witness and film the situation. Obviously, if the cops were going around fucking with my neighbor, me going over there guns blazing isn't going to be good for anybody. Obviously not a wise move, and not anything I'd condone or recommend anybody do, no matter how morally justified it may or may not be. But at least if you can be there and be a witness, that's something, right? I mean, that's, if they do some fuckery, hopefully it'd be harder for them to get away with it, hopefully. So anyhow, getting off topic here. But so a lot of what they would do would be to witness things. So, and this is the way they portray it here, is he says, in some ways, and this is the author of this news article, in some ways they act more like hall monitors and superheroes. If nothing else, they hand the cops probable cause on a silver platter. If they report that they saw somebody peddling drugs, that's all the Seattle police need to justify a search. Jones fills out police reports and testifies in court. The cops know his real identity, but allow him to use the superhero moniker in court. So a couple things on this. I have thoughts. So it doesn't say here that he does this, that he reports people selling drugs. It doesn't say that he does. It kind of says if he were to, but it does say that, it sounds like, okay, if he were whatever, he's out there being a professional witness, so whether or not he's being a fucking punk ass snitch or not depends on what the things are he's reporting on. Right now, it does seem as though, like he said, and there's some other articles that claim this, but he says things like he doesn't have a problem with people like doing drugs, but he wants drug dealers to be somewhere else, to move to be, somewhere else. So it's kind of unclear on whether or not he does report on like drug dealers. There's an incident in this article where they they approached some people and asked them if they're selling or buying, basically. And they were buying, and implies they just left them alone. But if they were selling, I'm not sure what it implies they would have done, to them. Now, being somebody who loves markets, if you're okay with the buying, you kind of can't not be okay with the selling, However, I totally understand neighborhoods getting really gross or getting really, crime infested or whatever, and being very, very drug ridden, I understand how that sucks, like I wouldn't want my neighbor out here to just be fucking slinging meth and have a bunch of weird people showing up and driving by my property every day. That's not something I'd want, and that's not something I'd want to be happening in my neighborhood. Of course, then the question, well, what do you do about it, right? And that's a whole nother thing, and that's very situational. But I, of course, think that even being a problem is only a problem because, of course, the war on drugs. If drugs were legal, right, then you wouldn't buy your meth from some dude like you buy your meth from a fucking store where it's like comes in a nice package and is like pure and all that shit, and there's security and there's like fucking, you can sue them and like all sorts of great shit like that, so I think it'd be like a non-issue, at least for the most part.
And it's easier to get help and therapy if you've got issues or addictions. Just like there's all kinds of there's like a free agency that will help you like quit smoking and send you free nicotine patches and stuff like that. And there's all kinds of like, alcohol agencies that do the same thing, that try to help you, quit drinking if you've got a problem with it. And there's all kinds of free, like there's all kinds of, the market provides. And so that's exactly why you shouldn't have anything illegal, because, and Portugal proves this, when they decriminalized all drugs, all these people were able to, get help with drugs, and crime went down and all of that stuff. So, yeah. And like Dag said, so the main problem is, the war on drugs. A lot of times it's even weapons, like you can't legally defend yourself, and a lot of times it's just public property is a problem. Like if everybody owns it, nobody really owns it, and and the government doesn't even take care of it most of the time. So yeah, those are the main issues that we're facing, is the drug war, well, of course, the COVID tyranny, the public property problems, them restricting and regulating self-defense, which is, gun control and all that. So, yeah, those are basically most of the problems that we see on the streets today. But anything else on this drug bust? Because I want to move to Chaz.
Yeah, no, that's all. That's all I know about it.
So now Chaz Chaz was in Seattle, of course, and Phoenix Jones was like, I'm on my way to Chaz and stuff like that. But I liked his approach. Here. He said, I'm not trying to mess with protesters or Kyle Rittenhouse almost, except he I'm pretty sure he didn't have a gun or anything, but yeah, he's just there in Chaz trying to have said, but yeah, he was just there trying to protect private property. So, kudos to him. He's like, I'm not trying to mess with issues, and a lot of Americans do. Like, I'm not for BLM, but everybody knows I'm not a fan of cops. Because every cop violates the non-aggression principle, and you can't be a good person if you constantly violate the non-aggression principle. So it's not just one bad apple. Well, and if you put one bad apple in a basket, what happens to all the other bad apples? All the other bad apples go bad.
The rest of the saying,
So,
they always leave out.
Yeah, that's the rest of the saying that they always leave out is, oh, just one bad apple. Well, if you put one bad apple in a bag of apples and see what happens.
It spoils the whole bunch. It releases a special gas
You
that
know,
causes other fruits to ripen faster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got Farmer Dag over here teaching us.
If you want your onions to ripen faster, put them in a bag with other onions. Mm-hmm.
Exactly,
Or apples.
Yeah.
Whatever. Same thing. Oh, fuck.
But I don't really have much else on Chaz, or it was later called Chop or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that he was in there, and it was kind of like a redemption. He was even saying on Twitter that he, wanted to redeem himself from the past, and that he was starting up again because he felt like the city needed him. And I think Chaz was the moment that basically put him back onto that path. So really cool that he was protecting private property, in my opinion. Kudos on that side. And just from what I've seen. So I mean, I don't even have an issue with him selling drugs, really. I mean,
I hope if he was busting drug dealers, then
I would have a problem with him busting drug dealers, but I don't even have a problem with him selling.
No, I don't have a problem with him selling drugs. But if he's busting drug dealers and selling drugs, then I'm gonna say, hey, that's a dick move, dude. So maybe he had an epiphany and stopped hating drug dealers and started selling drugs. Then whatever, I'd hear him out. Let me say that. I'd hear him out. Hey, dude.
Yeah,
what's the deal,
that's
bro?
That's the only really negative thing that I've heard about Phoenix Jones was that and I think a lot of it is just this media wants a good story, right? So we don't exactly know. There's no I haven't found any incidences where he's like taking down drug dealers, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
But again, I don't have any issues with him selling. Yeah. So I think from what I've seen, I think that he really seems like a good guy. Like if you watch some of his like live video on Twitter and stuff, and it really just seems like he's trying to help out. But
I would love to see that list like we talked about. If there was a list, so I was gonna say if there was a list of like all the stuff he's like testified for, I'd be very curious to see that. You know what I mean? I guess. There was an article
saying that he was behind about 50 arrests, that public arrests, but I couldn't find all of those. So if anybody can find those, send them to me on Twitter at AgoristN or agoristnexus@protonmail.com.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I'd love to take a look at the record, and he said publicly that he's got over 100. He's been involved with over 100 arrests, and that 50 of them were documented publicly by police. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got. If you want to follow him, take a look at him on Twitter at Phoenix Jones. I'm sure he's got all kinds of other stuff, but other platforms to follow him. But Twitter seems to be, definitely better than the meta ones like Instagram and Facebook, which are the same company. So as you guys know, we Agorist Nexus has been banned. I think 4.0 just got Agorist Nexus 4.0 just got recently banned off of Twitter. So I'm not really a huge fan. And we only posted like one thing on 4.0, and they
off of Twitter
took
or off
our
of Facebook? Page
down. So I mean, off of Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Agorist Nexus 4.0. Yeah, I was gonna make it 5.0, but I was like, nah, I'm just
yeah, why
you're not gonna use this platform,
dude? Yeah. So can I give my final thoughts on the whole Phoenix Jones thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I think this is a pretty cool story. It's interesting. I can't believe I hadn't heard anything about this until recently. I have some slight reservations, but without being able to know, more information, I think it's pretty cool. I think I think that if there was more things like this and they were effective, You know what I mean? That would really help. If it helped people, it makes the world of difference to those people that it helps. But it might help shine a spotlight on just how much state services suck, and that's one of the things. It's one of the things that's like, kind of silver lining, white pilling about like even like the whole COVID thing is that it makes this ridiculous. Oh man, who did I hear say this the other day? And I thought it was fucking great. Maybe I think it was Barry Weiss of all fucking people. She was like, it's a fucking pandemic of bureaucracy. And it's like, yes, dude, like it fucking is, So anyhow, getting off topic, but it helps people see, like, just the ridiculousness of this shit just illustrates how much the cops suck and how much the cops aren't doing their job, how much the state isn't doing the job that it claims you need it to do, that it claims monopoly over, basically. He's in a little bit of a gray area doing this. It's not technically illegal, but a lot of cops don't like it. And at any time, any of these interactions he was having with people could have led to something that could have put him in legal trouble for right or wrong, So I don't know, man. It's definitely cool. I definitely hope he wasn't busting people for drugs. I'd feel a lot better. I'd feel great about it if that were the case. But and then on his personal issue with the law right now with the the drug selling and everything, I wish him all the luck. Definitely people should be getting locked in the cage for that kind of shit. I'd hope that he has enough clout built up. If he has been basically, I hate to say it, like his professional snitch for years, then hopefully he's got some clout built up and they'll let him off easy. You know what I mean? If he really has helped testify on that many cases, I don't know. So that's what I got.
Cool. Yeah, so yeah, I've got a somewhat of a quote. Do you have a quote today? Because I've got it's not really a quote. It's just like kind of like a feel good. I don't know. Go with yours.
Okay, I'll do mine, and then if you want, you can do yours. But this one is poignant for today. So, to be a police officer, there is so much red tape, it would hinder my ability to fight crime. Phoenix Jones.
That's gonna do it. Agorist Nexus out.
Peace.